Today, he's recognized as one of the best central midfielders in world football, but at no point in his career was success guaranteed for the diminutive Croatian maestro. Hell, as a war refugee, a shot at adulthood wasn't a sure thing either. What's up? My name's Adrian, and I'll be your guide through the early life and subsequent career of Luka Modrić. Just wanted to take a second to let you know that if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe and check out our other player bios, explainers, and news videos all revolving around the world of football. There. Done. PSA over. Let's get back to Luka. Luka Modrić was born on September 9th, 1985 in the coastal city of Zadar in present-day Croatia, though his family moved north to the hamlet or small settlement of Zrinjski in the Velebit mountain range. Young Luka helped his family with farming duties, as can be seen here as he shepherds some goats. I know there's a greatest of all time joke in there somewhere, but let's move on. In 1991, when Luka was around the age of 6, while still living on his family's farm, Yugoslavia began to erupt with a terrible, terrible war. Now, without getting too deep into the politics of it, the result of the war was over 130,000 people killed, 4 million displaced refugees, and the division of Yugoslavia into the countries we know today as Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, Serbia, and Kosovo, which is, to this day, still not recognized as a country by some. It's a partially recognized state. One of those 130,000 plus that died as a result of the war was Luka's namesake, his grandfather Luka. As his grandfather was walking his cattle up the hill to pasture, as he did every day, he was apprehended by a police force, we'll call it, that was part of the SAO Krajina, or the Serbian Autonomous Oblast of Krajina, a self-proclaimed autonomous region which is within modern-day Croatia. Following the murder of his grandfather, Luka's family grabbed what they could and fled their home. Their home was then burned to the ground as they left, ensuring that they had nowhere to return to after going into hiding from the Serbian forces. From a simple farming family to refugees in the blink of an eye, Luka's family fled to Zadar, taking up residence in the Kolaver Hotel with other refugee families for a full 7 years. Luka's father ended up joining the Croatian army as a mechanic, while his mother did what she could in their new adopted home, where at times there is no electricity or running water. But despite this, Luka passed his time with the closest thing he had to a toy, a football. Playing in the parking lot of the hotel with other kids, or simply on his own, he and his competitors would have to dodge massive craters from the regular bombings that the hotel would endure. Despite this, one hotel worker said that Luka and his football were probably responsible for breaking more windows at the hotel than the bombs ever did. After people began to take notice of the 8-year-old scrawny boy who was head and shoulders above the other children as far as footballing ability, Luka had a trial with the club he supported as a kid, Hajduk Split. After just 2 weeks of training, Luka was released by Split, with the club claiming he was too small and fragile. This hit Luka hard, and he would have quit football if it wasn't for Tomislav Basic, whom Luka claims is somewhat of his second father, or at least his father in football. Basic convinced Luka to sign up with the local club, NK Zadar, in 1996 at the age of 11. At training, with the war still ongoing, Basic said that the training pitch could turn into a battle zone from 1 second to the next. Quote, "We were always afraid. That's what I remember the most. Thousands of bombs fired from the surrounding hills fell on the training pitch in those years, and we were always racing to reach the shelter. Football was our escape from reality." A year later, as the war began to die down a bit, it was declared safe for Luka and his parents to return to their village. His family opted against it, instead moving into another refugee hotel, Hotel Is, in order to put as much money as they could into Luka pursuing his dream of becoming a professional football player. He continued to impress with NK Zadar, including during a tournament in Italy, as he started to make a name for himself as a very skilled player in the Croatian youth leagues. At the age of 16 in 2002, Basic arranged for Luka to join Croatia's biggest club and rivals to his favorite Hajduk Split, Dinamo Zagreb, making a deal with the now infamous Croatian agent and former executive director of Dinamo, Zdravko Mamić. With Basic facilitating the move, Modrić began playing his way up through the youth ranks of Dinamo Zagreb. When he turned 18, knowing he wouldn't get a shot with the first team, he was sent on loan on 2 occasions. First, to the city of Mostar in Bosnia, where he played for Zrinjski Mostar during the 2003-2004 season. The Bosnian league at this time was considered to be one of the most physical and toughest in Europe. Perhaps not the most welcoming environment for a small player like Modrić, let alone the racist jibes that a Croatian would have to put up with while playing in Bosnia following the war. Reflecting on his time in Bosnia, Modric said that anyone who could handle playing in the Bosnian league at that time could handle playing anywhere. No wonder he's so good at avoiding tackles. To say that Luka impressed during his stint with Mostar would be an understatement, as he went on to score 8 goals in 22 appearances and win the Bosnian Premier League Player of the Year award at just 18 years of age. Despite this, there was still no room for him at Dinamo Zagreb apparently, and he was again sent on loan for the 2004-2005 season, this time to Croatian club NK Zaprešić, just northwest of Zagreb. Modric again impressed while on loan to the, at least at the time, somewhat yo-yo club. With 4 goals from 18 appearances and a host of incredible performances, Modric helped guide Zaprešić to their best ever finish in the Croatian top flight, finishing just 1 place behind his parent club, Dinamo Zagreb, and collecting the Croatian Football Hope of the Year award, or the award for the best young Croatian player. In 2005, while the season was still ongoing, he was recalled to Dinamo Zagreb and signed a 10-year contract with the club. Wow. With the money from that contract, which was considered a mammoth contract to a former refugee, he bought his family a home in Zadar. Not a big home, a flat. Because, as he said, there's only 4 of them. What would they do with all that extra room? A year later, he received his first cap for the national side in a 3-2 friendly victory over Argentina, in which the 20-year-old Modric impressed in the Croatian midfield alongside national heroes like Niko Kovac, the now manager of Bayern Munich, and Niko Kranjčar. But back to Luka's time with Dinamo. In his first full season with the club, the 2005-2006 season, he struck up an incredible understanding with Eduardo. Remember him, the Brazilian Croatian that went to Arsenal? While Modric also grabbed 7 goals for himself and won his first Croatian title, and earning him a spot in the Croatian World Cup squad that went to Germany. He only made 2 appearances at that World Cup, both substitute. In the 2006-07 season, his exploits won him the Prva HNL Player of the Year award, after guiding Dinamo to yet another title. 2007-2008, another title for Dinamo, as they bossed the league, winning it by 28 points, as well as taking the Croatian Cup. It was then that the big clubs of Europe began to sniff around Dinamo, scouting his teammate, Mario Mandzukic, but also courting the diminutive midfielder. And, of course, Daniel Levy and Tottenham would be the club that secured his signature for a then club record, equaling the fee of £16.5 million. Man, how times have changed regarding transfer fees in just 10 years, hey? Now, a young Luka Modric would probably go for 40, 50 million. Now, there's some controversy surrounding his move, again involving Zdravko Mamić, and if there's any interest in the subject, I can devote a video to it in the future. So, let me know. But anyways, in England, he didn't impress right off the bat. His first match was against Boro, a 2-1 loss for Spurs, and a knee injury didn't really help things. The physicality of the league was then believed to be his eventual downfall, with other managers, including a somewhat salty Arsene Wenger, who missed out on a signature, labeling Modric as a lightweight. I guess it stung that he chose to go to their rivals. But lightweight or not, a boy who can handle playing in bombed out parking lots and pitches, as well as stints in the Bosnian league, well, let's just say that he's been through and handled much worse than some Premier League physicality. Though he had a stint where he played out of position on the left wing, the sacking of Juande Ramos and subsequent hiring of Harry Redknapp meant that Modric was moved back to central midfield. Redknapp was a massive fan of Modric, recognized his ability, and believed he was a player to build a squad around. About a month later, Modric scored his first goal for Tottenham in a UEFA Cup match away to Spartak Moscow on December 18th, 2008. His first Premier League goal came quickly after, 3 days later in fact, on December 21st, 2008 against Newcastle. That season, he did well to endear himself to the Spurs faithful, scoring crucial goals against both Chelsea and Man United. In August of 2009, Modric sustained a broken leg and was out until December 28th, making his return against West Ham. And, in another testament to his resilience, ended up scoring against the Hammers with the leg that he had broken. Season upon season with Spurs, he began to build his reputation as one of the most technically gifted and hard-working midfielders, if not in England, then in Europe. In 2011, Chelsea did their utmost to attain his services, with Modric even publicly saying that he would entertain a move to Chelsea or any other big club, as silverware still seemed far away for Spurs and he wanted to take that next step. That August, he refused to play in the Community Shield match against United, saying his head wasn't in the right place. Chelsea made an offer of £40 million on transfer deadline day, and the offer was once again rejected. It was clear to Tottenham now that he wanted out, though and perhaps rightfully so, Spurs were unwilling to sell him to a rival, particularly a London rival like Chelsea. After another solid season under Harry Redknapp, Modric was sold for around £30 million to Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid in the summer of 2012. Again, Modric had a slow start at his new club, as Mourinho's preferred midfield three of Xabi Alonso, Sami Khedira, and Mesut Ozil kept him out of the team. He would later go on to be voted as the worst signing of the year by readers of Marca. Despite that though, in March of 2013, in his first season with Real Madrid, he scored against United at Old Trafford, thus helping Madrid move on in the Champions League. It's here where Modric moved more into his deeper role and truly started to find himself. That's considered a turning point in his Real Madrid career for sure. In fact, in the following season under Carlo Ancelotti, he was one of the first names on the team sheet, helping Real Madrid onto their famous La Decima, or 10th Champions League title, and cementing his place among Europe's elite creative midfielders. And from there, I mean, you know the story of both Modric and Real Madrid, an incredible partnership with Toni Kroos and later Casemiro, and an unprecedented 3 Champions League titles in a row. But it wasn't just at the club level that Modric has made his mark, as, of course, in 2018, he captained Croatia, helping them all the way to the finals of the World Cup, which they eventually lost 4-2. For me though, one of the most Luka Modric moments of that World Cup wasn't one of his impossible through balls. It wasn't a moment where he backed himself into a corner then found a way out of it somehow, nor was it his goal against Argentina. The moment that, for me, was peak Luka Modric came during Croatia's match against Denmark. After going through the entirety of extra time, a late penalty was awarded to Croatia, which Modric stepped up to take and was saved by Danish keeper Kasper Schmeichel. The final whistle blew almost immediately after this, meaning a shootout was on the cards. Now, instead of turning down the call to take a penalty in the shootout for his country, Luka stepped up once again, looked Schmeichel in the eye, who was, of course, reminding him of the penalty he just saved, and slotted it past the Danish keeper. The resolve to be able to continue fighting, to not back down from a challenge, to hit adversity and then go again, that's peak Modric. And without it, his career would have been finished following that initial rejection from Hajduk Split. And it's that resolve that will continue to push Modric forward for as long as his body allows him. For our sake, I hope that's a long time. And with that folks, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hey, if you enjoyed it, then be sure to drop a like or subscribe if you're finding us for the first time. My name is Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace!